it's Rhonda with Got Junk in Our Trunk, and I'm back with another Why Did I Buy? Today, we're talking about Hunka Hunka Burning Love, Elvis. A lot of people think that Elvis is dead, and Elvis is not dead. Even with the movie industry and them putting out something recently about Colonel Tom and all of that, that kind of revved the interest a little bit, but I can tell you right now, I live within maybe 15 miles, maybe a little bit less, of Graceland. I grew up in the shadow of Graceland in the neighborhood that was called Graceland at the time. I was friends growing up with Sherry Lacker, and her dad, Marty Lacker, was part of what they called the Memphis Mafia in the day. That was his bodyguards and friends that took care of him. We used to sit on the back fence of Graceland and watch Elvis and some of his trainers ride the horses and take care of the tack and things like that. Everybody that lives in Memphis, and I was born in Memphis, they all have a story. They have a Elvis story. Everybody's got one. I've got several of them, actually. My stepdaughter is third cousin of Elvis, and so she is related to the Mann family. It's Mann. In the day, my mother, before my dad came along in high school, dated Wayne Mann, so I could have been related. There's a lot of different connections that we have, and you'll find as you start asking questions about Elvis in this area that there's a lot of people that do have a lot of connection to that family and the enterprise that's over there. These are some of the albums that I've got. I've probably got, I think, probably around 25, 30 that are in stock right now. I do sell the memorabilia as far as like the albums, the 45 records, things like that. Those always sell. Cassettes, any of that type of stuff will sell. Do they all sell high? No, they don't all sell high. And as you can see, like on these, I'll show you this one in particular. You see that it's got some writing on it up here of the former person that owned it. So that's going to take some of your value down on something like that. But the main reason that I wanted to come on here today is to tell you just a little bit. I've got a friend, and I'll pop up a screenshot of John. His name is John Daly, not the golfer. It's spelled Jondaly. And he is somebody that lived up north. He became interested in Elvis very early on, I think around the age of 14 or maybe even a little bit younger than that. And the short story on John is that he does a lot of the buying and selling in the area. He buys out collections. I'll show you a picture of him in the Colonel's office, actually. He went out to, I believe it was in California, and that's been pretty recently in the last couple of years, and he was able to purchase things, among them eyeglasses that belong to the Colonel. And he's also very well versed. He's a young guy. He's, what, I guess 40, around his early 40s at the most. And he and I met up actually through eBay. He bought something from me through eBay, and then he saw that I was located in the Memphis area, and through a chain of events, we ended up meeting and becoming friends. So it was an exciting thing for him to find out, some of the connections that I had, and being a retired estate liquidator now, I can find things for him, and I vend through him. There's been several of my estates in the past that I found memorabilia. Most recently, I made a purchase of a lot of campaign buttons, and some of those were actually entertainment things like Def Leppard and things like that. Well, there were some that was Hume's High School, and that's where Elvis attended and all of that. And so John, at the filming of this, he's got it within the next 2 weeks, of course, that's one of the anniversary dates for Elvis, and he is going to be involved in the vigil, which they have every year. He gets interviewed quite often by places from all over the world. The BBC and things like that will do remotes, and they talk to him, and he holds an event, Elvis Con, every year, and his store is the EP Pawn Shop, actually, the Elvis Presley Pawn Shop, and he runs it out of the Graceland area, not Graceland itself, but the Graceland area down there. There was a couple of years ago that I had somebody that called me up to do an estate sale, and they had been contacting other companies. And the bottom line on all of that is, if companies didn't have enough that they were going to get out of an estate, it was too much for the family to fool with, but not enough for the estate company to fool with. Those were the ones that I usually like to go to because you could find some treasures there. And also, I kind of looked at my estate business, even though I was making money from it, I looked at it as a ministry to the family in a lot of ways. So I would take on some of them that, I wouldn't get a whole lot of money from, but it was worth my time and my effort and my payroll, because I did have a couple of people that would help me set up and things like that. Well, I went to a friend's estate and kind of looked over some different things. And I thought, well, yeah, I'll help them with this or whatever. And she says, well, she said, we got turned down by several of the estate companies. And she says, but I had other things I could have shown them. And so we got to talking. And as it turns out, she had an authentic, which was authenticated by John at that point in time. And I'll pop up a screen share or a picture of that here. I had an autograph, an Elvis Presley autograph, and it was to Laura, which was this lady's aunt, and she worked at Coletta's restaurant here in town, and Coletta's is still open. And they had a lot of memorabilia and such, and so I shot that over to John, and he ended up connecting with the owner of Coletta's, and we were able to sell that autograph. I sold it to John, and John ended up making some money off of it too. But I actually sold it for my customer. I believe it was around 2,400, 2,500, or something like that, just for a little receipt from Coletta's that had Elvis's name on it. So people can tell you that Elvis will not sell, but Elvis is still the king of sales in a lot of areas. And this is not just here. This I sell on Etsy. I sell on Mercari. Anytime that I can find something, I usually will try and sell an Elvis item. And here's why. So anytime that you see Elvis somewhere, take him home, and he'll take you to the bank. Happy junkin'.